Welcome back to the channel, guys. Again, I appreciate it. This is Axe here, Ed from Kansas City. So yeah, let's get into the video. I appreciate you guys commenting and viewing the channel and supporting the channel, and for all you guys that are subscribing, I appreciate that. Thank you guys for hitting me up in game and just you know, sharing your that you're a subscriber and that you're a fan and things like that. I appreciate it. So we want to get into this video today. We're just going to be talking about trap accounts today, or making a trap account. Trap accounts in Lost Mobile has always been something that's really fascinating. It's kind of like the opposite spectrum of you got your max rally accounts, and then you have your max trap accounts. So when those two meet, it's always a duel, it's always a battle, and there's nothing prettier than both of them being really, it's nothing like a trap account throwing on all that mythic champ gear and those pack fives and things like that. But that's not what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the ordinary guy like you and me, like us, those free to play, or those people who pay only a little bit on Large Mobile. We're not the rich. So let's dig into this and let's talk about the trap account and what do you need, how to build a trap account. Now, you guys know I've been playing since 2016, and Lord Mobile is already on their 8th birthday. So that pretty much means that in 2016, when you add 8 years to that, you're talking about 2024. So now I started playing, I'm guessing, I don't know. I'd have to look back at the video or kind of around about my first payments in Large Mobile on my Google thing and see when I started spending on the game. Okay, so other than that, um, let's see what's the name joined the guild. Okay, Ninja joined the guild for a minute. Cool. I got an open guild, guys. So basically, let's get into the video. Just trying to get it open guild. If you join my guild and you're watching this video, two things to remember in joining this guild in this particular kingdom. This is Kingdom 1015, guys. There's Axe right there. Kingdom 1015. And this is a very aggressive kingdom, guys. This kingdom is loaded with big guilds and a ton of maxed out accounts. So if you are an account that routinely or you normally find yourself not shielded, you let your shield expire or something like that, pretty much in this kingdom you're gonna get zero. So keep that in mind, and then if you join the guild, also keep in mind that, hey, this is not an invite toward members to just get gems and or speed ups and things like that. It's just to be a part of a guild that's laid back and chills. That's all I do, really. I don't really have the rules and things like that, guys. I'm not into that, for real. I'm not into being somebody's commander and disciplinary person and all that. I have a job for that type of stuff. If I want to get bossed around and boss others around. So not in the game. The game is for fun for me. So let's get into the video and let's talk about what you need to do to be a rally lead. So free to play, or if you just have a little bit to spend like myself, any free to play castle, everybody knows the first thing that you are going to need is troops. You're gonna need some troops, guys. Not that many. You don't need that many troops to be a trap account. Matter of fact, you'll be an unhappy trap account with that many troops. But you are going to need some troops. So let's look in here and see what you need. Now, your troops are going to be based on how much research you have. If you don't do the proper research, if you don't do the necessary research for certain types of troops, now all of these in the research building, the academy, it's really it goes back and forth, guys. Like, you might finish a certain level of your military research, which has to do with your T1, T2, T3, and T4, and then before you're able to unlock T4, it might ask you to go and finish something else. I actually wanted to do this video on my alt account, but on my Apple, but I don't have the right recorder on there. You know, the Apple Store is way different than the Google Play Store. So you guys out there who are iOS, who do play with Apple, your iPhones, if you know a good free recorder, that is good for Apple, for iPhone, for YouTube, hit me up with that recorder that really works. I'm using on this one X recorder. It is a really good one. I don't know if you can see it in there. Well, you probably can't see it, but it's a really good one. It works great. I don't like the fact that it breaks my videos in half and makes me have to use a merging app, video merger, to merge them back together. Sometimes that can take away the quality. Now, back to the topic. You're going to need some troops. Your troops are going to be based off your research. You can only make certain troops based off your castle level. So I want to really identify with the free-to-play trap accounts. You don't necessarily, it would be good if you had T4 and even a pinch, just a little bit of T5s in there, guys. But you don't really need T5s. But if you did have them, that would be good. Now, we know as a free-to-play, that takes just so much time. But if you are free-to-play and it takes so much time to unlock T5s as well as T4, at least try to unlock one of the T4s, such as maybe range, maybe unlocking range, or potentially cavalry. Probably not infantry, you know, because a lot of the rally leads and a lot of the rallies are normally going to be your cav and your or your mixed 424, something like that, which is going to be 424 is 40% infantry, 20% range, and 40% cavalry. And so most of your rallies are like that, or they just come with really range. They just play it on the safe side. And a lot of people normally have more range than anything. So if you can, guys, if you can unlock any T4s, I would say go ahead for it. But if you're not, I would encourage you, some people would disagree, I would encourage you to unlock enough where you at least can have the next level of your army, which is T3s. So how many troops should you have is going to vary. It's going to vary based on what kind of rallies that you're taking, and you got to know what kind of rallies you are taking. You can have as little as, say for instance, you got if you have some T1s, maybe 1 million each T1s, and then T2s. Let's say that you have a number of, let's say you have of T2s. The ideal amount for a trap account is normally about 5 to 6 million T2s each, not including your siege though, but you do want some siege. So I would say if you're going to have T2s, if you're free to play, I would say if you're not at the point where you can make that many T2s, which is every bit of, that's like at least 12,000, 12 million, I'm sorry, 4, 4, and 4. So you can win some rallies. I think a good number, so that's right there, that's 12 million, not to mention a little bit of T1s, like maybe a million each. T1s 500K, those are going to be uh, they don't really do really anything, but they will help absorb just a tiny bit of your they will absorb just a tiny bit of your of your uh of your T help absorb of your T2s. Now I'm shooting these guys a message. All these guys are joining here. So just a ton of people joining. Maybe I don't know why, but I don't have a clue. Some of them join for the simple reason of of some of them join for the simple reason of trying to get gifts or trying to spy, right? It's all like one or the other. Then some are just super cool. So we're not gonna worry about that right now. We're going to send a little happy face to them. Not faking, that's for sure. Making a YouTube video. Little courtesy chat there. So anyway, so you're gonna want to have you gotta have troops. Any trap account that you're gonna make is gonna have troops. So it just depends on how big you want to be. Now keep in mind, the more research you do, the bigger your trap account looks. There's nothing prettier than a trap account that's solid, that is only about 300 to 400 million might. That is beautiful. Now listen, I would definitely tell you, you all know that 4 million 12 million, 4 million each T2 is really not enough. An account like mine would be able to potentially burn you with that few troops. So you do want to have some layers there, some buffers. So I would say definitely make some T3s as well if you don't have T4s. And so 4 million each T2 without siege. And then on your T3, you'd want to make more T2s than you make T3s. And then on your T3s, they're the ones that are going to be delivering the damage, a percentage of the damage to the hits. So I would say have about 2 million each of those, respectively, without siege, but have some siege. So that gives you around about 12 plus 6 is 18, with a few T1s. So you're looking at about 20 million troops, guys. And that's without T4s. If you're able to make T4s, I'd still throw a few T3s in there, depending on how many T2s you got. Like I said, a really solid trap account normally has about 5 to 6 or more. Ideally, you want like 7 or 8 million T2s each. But it's also going to depend on, guys, what we're going to talk about next is what kind of gear are you using. So the next two things we're going to look at is gear. I know some people like seeing the rest of the comp here, so let's let you see that. If you aren't able to make T4s, if you are able to make at least one type of T4, make it a range. But if you're going to make it a range trap account, then that's going to be what kind of phalanx you're going to be trying to use, guys, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. So there you have that. I am low on my T5s. I need to train some of that, but I'm really cool. Anyway, let's keep moving. Next thing you're going to want to do is what kind of gear should you have? If you can get some purple gear, which is epic, that's cool. Uh, let's look at some of the gear. This is some of the gear I kind of started with myself. I started with things like, of course, I started with things like mittens, boots, things like these, um, which it don't give you a whole lot of stats at all. This is what I kind of started with, guys, when I started playing in 2016 when Large Mobile came into the game. There you see, there's your Army HP on that with some infantry attack. These are going to be gears that's kind of easier to make. Your drop rate will be easier on something like some of these. Now, I know on my, particularly on my mitts, those was like the last thing I think I used to get mythic, and it cost me quite a bit. I even did a video on it, and I feel like I got screwed. So this is your range. So you see your cavalry, infantry, and range. So it has 3 different layers there, and then it gives you some army HP. A lot of traps, a lot of players in general use these mitts for the HP. So you're going to want to use something like that. You see I really don't have any jewels in it because I took all of my jewels pretty much out, my good jewels out, and I put them into my mix set. So some of the things you're going to be looking at is the gear you're going to be using. Some things that are hard to make, or something like this here is hard to get to make. Another one that is hard is Bumble. This one's hard to make. So if you're free to play, maybe focus on the gear that is the least harder to get. To that's harder to get. That's easier to get to level up. As you see, I have quite a bit left to get this here to even mythic. So the thing you're gonna need is it's no good to have a lot of troops or the 20 million or so troops as a trap account, and you have no gear at all to help with the stats. Your gear is going to reflect. Let's look at this right quick. Your gear is going to reflect. Let's just use a cavalry. Your gear, whatever you choose, is going to reflect what kind of stats you're going to have, such as those green numbers over there. And if you're taking a rally hit with your base stats or with no good gear at all, then it's kind of like taking a rally hit in monster gear or in, let's look at my monster gear stats, guys. I don't really have any jewels other than monster hunting jewels in there, but let's look at the stats, if they offer anything. Even my monster hunting gear at the level that it is offers some stats. I want to try to do something right quick and just put in whatever I have that has some stats. Let's equip that. I could upgrade, of course I won't. Let's find another piece here. Let's use that one. Equip. Let's use another piece, like maybe you have this here. These are some that are kind of maybe. Let's use one of these. And I'm going to take this one out, and I'm going to use this here. No, let's use one of these, a gold one of those. And over here, let's use, I'm just looking for something that offers some stats, such as a free-to-play might have. Let's go with these boots here. Let's look here. We can actually use, let's use this one right here. Some of y'all might have a purple something like this. We could use something like that, I think, but let's use this here. And then let's over here, let's use, well, we're not going to use nothing over there. Some people have this as well. It's not really hard to really upgrade. Let's use that. Then let's use, we don't really have anything over here, but we'll use this here. And then let's use over here, let's use How about this? Even with this gear on right here, I'm still looking at about roughly almost 400 stats, you know. And my point is this, is that that's better than this here. That's better than this here. That's better than having no gear at all, guys. So even without the gear on, there's some stats there. But what I'm basically telling you is that if you have a lot of troops, but you really don't have any leader deployed or stats, if you don't have any stats there, any boosts, it's kind of like, in a sense, being rallied without your leader, or being rallied in monster gear, or in research gear, or in construction gear. You see the difference there. So my point is this, is that if you're going to be a rally trap, you want to basically have troops, but you want to have some sort of gear to help equip your troops. So let's look at some more of the gears, all equipment. Over here, I would say, as a free-to-play, work on maybe your Burning Scroll, your Dragon's Irish. If you can, work on your Val or your Drum. There was another one down here that I thought was pretty good. If it's in here. No, it's not in there. I thought it was, though. So also keep in mind, if you're going to be a range trap or something like that, there's a few trap accounts that just like have a ton of range in there, and that's their front line. So yeah, I'm still learning personally phalanxes and stuff like that. I've been doing a lot of research on that lately, and I'm gonna make a video on that soon, because as I'm learning it. So for this, you're gonna your accessories here. Work on something like I started with my drums and valves and things like that. Those are the main things I started with when I started playing. Those were kind of easy to make. And they all have different things too. One's cavalry, one's infantry, one's cavalry there. And there's another infantry one. I would say go for the ones that gives you attack stats, or that gives you whatever one that you can make that gives you the best army attack or HP, or troop type boost, such as a range attack or an infantry attack. You're gonna want to have something in there to support your troops. So I don't know whether you should work on a mixed before. If you can work on gear free to play that has mixed, like one person has, let me show you, I've seen one person have in his gear, he had like something like this. There's a couple of them here, guys. Let me check them out. Okay. I would say if you can make something like these here. Here's one, the Arctic Net, or the Call of the Deep. Something like those. It gives you infantry and cavalry. There's also the Viral Switchblade. It gives you infantry and range. So figure out if you want to work with mixed. I would, if I was you, free to play and your money's low or you're low pay to play, work on the ones that's going to accomplish what you're trying to do. If you're pretty much going to be putting on a mix set, which most people do when they're rallying, they're going to put on a mix so that all of their army is getting some of those boosts and not just one particular troop type. So something like that. Here's another one that has Dark Aegis, has infantry and army attack as well. That's pretty good. Something I haven't taken to, I wouldn't, of course, but now I wouldn't, but back then that could be okay, especially if you put some astrolites in it, which that's a whole nother topic. So the thing about I'm saying is you're going to want to be able to have some good gear. So work on the gear, like in here. This is a pretty easy one. The Frostwing Great Sword is a pretty easy one. It does give you all 3 troop type stats boosts. So that's equivalent to almost having army HP, guys, or army attack, I'm sorry. So that Frostwing Great Sword gives you like army attack because it gives every troop type some boost. And it's even better when you can put some type of jewels in there, even whatever kind of jewels you can get. And they're not easy to get. So any kind of, that would be something that you will want to go after, the Frostwing Sword. Don't worry about champ gear and stuff like that. This particular piece, the Skull Crusher, is hard to actually take this guy to the next level. It's not easy at all. And so so that's the thing you got to keep in. And I don't think it's a Skull Crusher. I think it's the. Let me see if that's it or not, guys. If it's the Skull Crusher. No, yeah, it was this guy here. Let's view this. That does gives you 21% range attack, and it also gives you 28% army HP. So that's pretty good. Now, that's an option there. And it was a, which one was that? This is a range and army attack. So the max is a range of 20, so this is a range piece. And I have ranges already. Right there. Nope. Which one was that? This one. And cavalry. So yeah, that, I think it's that one right there. That's the one that's infantry too. So that's the range one. And I'll probably go ahead and mythic that just to have it in there as a piece. So what I'm saying is what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that your focus on the ones that's going to give you the best type of stat. Decadent Sword is good. It is infantry and it's range. Now let's look at them at potentially where you might want to take them to. Like the Decadent Sword is 16. All of these are 16. The Frostwing is 12, but it gives all 3. So a lot of times you're going to have these as purple and things like that. So I would say if you're going to work on them, work on gear pieces that get mixed, that have mixed attack boost in there. That way you're and that's what I regret that I didn't do, because a lot of the gear that I started on, the drums, the vials, things like that, they only had one particular troop stat boost in there. And at the end of the day, that's not the best at all. So if you can get a piece or gear that has multiple uh, stats. And here's another piece that I wasted halos on, guys, when I started making it. Try to avoid that too, guys, because if you do want to try to get cups, like if you do, because this is a mixed piece here, and everybody loves this one. It's like one of the most desirable ones. So I would encourage you to be careful of which gear pieces are going to use the same kind of materials, such as the halos. You don't want to waste your halos on this piece here. I mean, you don't want to waste your halos for the potential of having this piece, and then you turn around and you make, let's say you make, like we were just at, you make the which piece was that? It wasn't the frost wing, right, guys? It wasn't this one either, right? I hit the wrong one. It wasn't that one. It was wasn't that one. That's the fruit. This one right here. You don't want to waste time making this one, because now you are losing halos that could be going towards your cup. Or let's say this piece here. You don't want to be making this hedonic cuirass at the expense of not being able to get cups. So don't have your materials taken from each other. That's another thing you want to watch. So have your priorities there, and then kind of like inspect what you're making. If you have to write it down, write down which ones it takes in there in alphabetical sequence, your A, B, C, D. That way you'll know when you're working on a particular gear, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm using halos for this and I'm using halos for that. And now you've wasted because you don't get those materials back. So another thing is this here, guys. Another thing is you're going to want to try to know how to counter, guys. You're going to want to try to know how to counter. More important than switching your gear is making sure you're in the proper phalanx when you're being rallied. So one of the things I say to people is get a little bit of understanding of this setup right here. And that's where I'm at right now. So you want to be able to know, like, if somebody is sending a cavalry blast to you, of course that means you want to be in some type. If no, I'm taking that back. Let's use that. If they send a cavalry blast to you, you know you want to be in some sort of range. The better thing could be, listen, watch. If you're in range phalanx and they're sending a cavalry blast to you, well, they're being countered already, because their cavalry is going to hit your range. So you're countering them, but what is right behind your range? Infantry. And if somehow if the cavalry gets past your infantry, then you're being countered. So the thing about it is get a little bit of understanding of what phalanx is to be in, and that takes time, guys. It takes time. You can kind of know it, but then being able to look at the march and the invader coming in the watchtower, and then being able to understand it, and then adjust and make the proper phalanx switch, that's a whole nother subject. Even some of the great rally traps guys still struggle in this area. So yeah, it will require some practice. I would tell anybody, if you want to practice on changing your phalanx and gear, go into this right here. This one right here, you see it? Go into there, do something like this. Bait and conquer. Let's do this here. Let's lure them. Let's do this here. I'm going to speed it up just for the sake of the video. I'm not going to waste 50 pieces on them, though. The 50p attack. that. So now watch. The good way to practice is they're mobilized, is do this. Go to, now they're attacking you. This is a good way for you to get practice. Go in here and hit that. Look at what they're sending. Oh, they're sending range. Go back over here. Go over here. Get into proper phalanx. We're going to be in some type of cavalry. This one, cavalry phalanx, is probably better because it has cavalry. They're sending range. You do not want to be in cavalry. You want to be in infantry. See what I mean? You want to be in infantry phalanx because they're sending cavalry. Let's check that again. I tricked myself on that one. So they're sending a range. So you definitely want to be in infantry. You want to be in an infantry phalanx. Infantry with probably an infantry wedge, because your infantry is countering their infantry, and then if they get past your infantry with their infantry, they still if they get past your infantry with their range, they're still fighting against range. You're not being countered as you would be in an infantry phalanx. So getting a good, deep, broad understanding of this is important, because with the troops, the amount of troops that you have, the most thing you're going to worry about is countering. And that's why you see in some of the rally traps, or in some of the rallies, you'll see the rally trap or the person being rallied go far away. They will move their like if this person is rallying me, they're going to move. Let's look. You can click on the map and it'll show you where you're pointing at. See the bullseye or the target piece right here? It tells you where the target is over there. You can go way down here, guys, to the corner down there. Now I'm in the corner. You see the little target? Move away from them as far as possible, just in case they're going to use speeds. Now, sometimes you want to take the hit. You don't want to move because you want them to think you're trapping, you're baiting. You don't want them to think you're online. That's another subject. But if you're in fury and you are being rallied and you didn't know, the best thing to do is to port away as far as you can. And then sometimes it's best to port away to the wonder. That gives you a chance at the wonders right here. If you port there, if you burn, it automatically cancels the rest of the rallies that are on you. If there's multiple rallies on you, and you have a chance to also kind of like hop around after that and not let them target you until your fury runs out. So that's the thing you're going to want to focus on there, is countering and stuff like that. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, which is important, and it's kind of like the deal breaker, guys. You need to have some familiars backing up your troops. If you're a free to play or a low to play player, if you can get something like Guy Fone, who gives you that cavalry stat there, now he gives you the army attack. If you can get something like that, 200% army attack, get that if you can. If you can get where is he at? That's not the one I'm looking for. It is right. No, Narcissus. You can get that one. Get the cavalry on that one. Get the mole. He's going to give you some infantry, and then get the trickster and the gremlin. Get some of these familiars, guys, that are going to give you some stats. Now, be careful. Do them one at a time if you can, because you got to keep in mind that your bright orb, talent orb, you don't want to spread yourself thin. So use what you can. You may not have enough orbs to go around. So I would say work on one familiar at a time. So that way you don't run out of resources. Because you don't want this one at, let's give you an example. You don't want this one at, say, increases cavalry attack by 8% when 10% of your troops are falling. What I'm saying is you want to get the most out of the ones you can use. So if you can find a a familiar like this, work on that one first. Increases army attack by 200%. Well, that's better. If you got to go to something like this next, watch this one. Even this one, it's not that great, but uh, it's not that great, but it will at the start of the battle grant you a 60% boost. Bing. So if you can use something like those that at least give you some kickback, use it. Use those. Know what's in your budget or when you're in your range to complete something. Because now you eventually you want to have Pack 5 because they are the deal breakers. Them are the ones that the super rally traps, the maxed out rally traps are using. They're killing it, and that's nothing like seeing those guys put on their gear and put on their familiars on their wall. You're gonna want to put them on your wall here, right in here, stationed in there. You'll put your familiars in here, guys. And that's the familiars I have on my wall there. So those are ones you're gonna want to put on your wall that you have. And like I said, it's nothing more beautiful than seeing those guys complete, put out them Pack 5s out there and then put on that champ gear and eat those rallies. It's a shocker because they changed their names afterwards, so you never know there was a rally trap. And then some rally traps are hard to get action because people know them. So another thing is going to be this here with the gear that I didn't mention. Keep in mind, guys, with the gear that I didn't mention, try to get all your slots filled or open, guys, in the research. Like if you're going to be a rally trap, you really do need to have all of your gear slots open. I mean, it's okay if you don't have, you can stop at a certain level, Castle 24, but at least make sure the rest of your gear is popping. It's really good enough. It helps you the best you can be helped. It's nothing wrong with being a level 24 trap account. That's a beautiful sight. But at least make sure your gear and everything else is great, So with that being said, that's what I wanted to kind of go over with you guys about. And want to go over that with you guys. They probably dream on somebody. Let's see, guys. Nah, somebody's playing games. Anyway, with all these different nationalities in here, man. Translated, it doesn't translate. That's a failure on. He's really big buffoon. That's crazy. He put all women R4 with angry. Some of them don't make no sense what they be saying. The translation is like so off. I guess that's why some people, I don't know what they're saying, but as best I can understand them, I try to understand them. They said there's no one here except us. Man, that's how it is when you join a open guild and you just accepting anybody, because I had one time when I opened the guild and mostly Vietnamese joined. So in the 70 or so members that we had, or 60 something, most of them was Vietnam, and that's why we had a couple of them that spoke English. And so he was the R4, and he would be able to not only translate and then help, solve problems and stuff like that. But a lot of the big mixed guilds, guys, some of the gigantic mixed guilds that are, or some of the biggest guilds, they're mixed. They have a mixture of everybody, and yeah, you may not understand them clearly. There may be a language barrier there. But I've talked enough, and I did want to get that out to you guys. So um, there you have it. There's what a rally trap. So a rally trap to me, if you're of a certain number like me, I really won't try to solo a castle that is like above 300 million. Might when you get into like 400 and stuff like that, I will not try to mess with that. But depending, unless I see the comp, you know, sometimes you can take a comp because you can use your attack boost. You can maybe put on the right gear, maybe in the right phalanx, and you got a chance potentially. Now that's different with max accounts. A max account that's maxed account, a 400 might castle, to some of these max accounts, especially to the emperor accounts, oh, that's nothing, man. They coming at you. But a 400 million might account can hold a lot of troops as well. So it's not so much as how many millions of might that you have. You could have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nowadays, your castles, your rally traps are about 400 and something to 800 and something million might. And that's all about how much research they got. And not so much as almost how many troops they got. So, but anybody offline long enough, you're gonna get zeroed anyway. So, but you know, it's fun. So we're talking about rally traps here, and then the next thing is like rally leads if you want to be a rally lead or something like that. But I wanted to talk about the rally traps because somebody messaged me and they were asking me advice and things like that, and they don't have T4, they don't have a level 25 castle, and they didn't have familiars, and they had a small amount of troops. And so I said I'd do a video. But keep in mind, you do have to have a certain amount of troops. A rally trap, the purpose of a rally trap, guys, it is a trap for a rally. It is not a trap for a solo attack. So if your trap can be soloed by a one castle, then you got some work you need to be doing, because you're not taking a rally, you're taking a solo. Now, that is not to say that some emperor accounts can solo with enough time. They can solo some really nice size billion might castles, guys. I've seen it done. Yeah, I've seen it done. I don't know if it's Oleg the Beast, the best, or you know, CR7 or whatever his name is and stuff like that. But it's a lot of them that can actually solo some if they let them, if they stay there, things like that. So with that being said, I hope I've given some helpful information, and I hope you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. Until the next video, which I will be doing another one about how to get your gems up on Lords Mobile. So stay tuned for that one. It's coming up not too long after this one. I'm out.